What the fuck is up? I'm so fucking tired. But I'm doing this because I want to. Because I have been desperate to pull a reading for days. Oh my god, it's been days. It feels just incorrect not to have pulled a reading. Not that anything is ever incorrect, there is no such thing, and I endeavor towards flexibility in all areas, but I just want to pull some cards, damn it! There's so much going on in the energy, there's so much astrologically that is taking place. Neptune retrograde, that's a big deal. There's the full moon, that's today, that's a big deal. There's just all kinds of shit. Mercury, the sun, emotional clarity, the inability to hide our emotions anymore, whether it's from ourselves or from other people. It's not working. And all of this happening that is so fascinating that I just want to pull on. And my life has been so busy. So busy. That's what happens. That's just what the flow of the energy is for myself at this moment, is busy. Almost nonstop. I appreciate all things, but I enjoy living at a slow pace. I like doing as little as possible most of the time. And I mean little. I mean sitting there, just existing, just being, maybe reading a book, maybe drawing something, maybe playing music, maybe those things, maybe sleeping. I like to sleep. I sleep a lot. Naps are awesome. I'm catching up on all the naps I missed out on as a kid because I refused to take naps as a child. I refused. I was one of those kindergartners who just said, nope, naps not for me. Yeah, naps for me now. All the naps, I will take them all. And I want to sleep. I want to sleep for maybe 2 days. A solid 48 hours sounds good. I would settle for 36. But that's just what is. It's just what is, man. I'm here. I'm in it. I surrender all control. I have no control over anything. I have no control over the speed of the energy, environmentally, what's occurring, nor over my own tiredness. So I'm aware of my resistance to some of this. My only option is to include, as part of the present moment, to expand my perception of this present moment, to include the moment, everything within it, and the feelings of resistance. And then I can just surrender to having resistance. And then I've surrendered, at least. Then I'm not resisting resistance, and then I have some peace there. But that's it. I'm going to pull on the energy. I don't really know what's happening. I don't know what's going to come out of my mouth or this. I barely know where I am right now. I'm so very tired. But I want to pull on this. I do feel like nothing is coincidence. It never fucking is. I feel like the masculine energy is exhausted. It's beat up. It's beat. It's tired. It has nothing left to give. It has very little fight left in it. The collective masculine egregore of pain, of anxiety, of fear, and all of those things, it's falling apart. It is dissolving. It's fading from the inside out. It's amazing. Oh, it still flares up, and when it gets a flare up, it gets real mean. It turns into this seething, angry ball, like an inflamed something or other. Kind of like a hemorrhoid, not that unlike a hemorrhoid. And really, it's just full of hot air. There's less and less for it to draw upon. It's burning itself out. That's the amazing thing. The collective fear, anxiety, egregore is collapsing, as it always would, as has always been the plan. which it's the only thing that ever could have happened. All is always as all should be. It is within the brilliant design of the universe that ego ends up dissolving itself. It has a self-destruct function. That is ultimately what it wants. It thinks, in the beginning, it thinks it needs to die. That's a part of it too. What it ends up realizing is it doesn't need to die, it just dissolves. Once you show to ego, because ego is not you, it's a part of you, but it is not you. You are that which is the container of ego. Ego is just one tiny little fragment of your being, which is always whole, by the way. You are not fragmented, you are whole. This is the misperception of ego that believes mistakenly itself to be separate from. It's never separate from. It's not possible for it to be separate from. It's always a part of the whole, and the whole is you. You are complete in yourself right now. But it's just fun once you show ego how it's been working against itself, because the primary goal of ego is to protect the self. It is the protective aspect, the masculine aspect. And once you reveal to it how it's actually been working against its own core programming, working against its own primary function, it realizes the only way to serve the self. First of all, it realizes it's been serving a false self. Second of all, it realizes the only way to truly serve the self is for it to dissolve, is for it to step out of the way, to stop trying, to give up control. And so that's what's happening for everyone, individually, collectively. Oh, there will be some time yet for this process to occur in totality, certainly, yes. But it is underway, and it is unstoppable, because we've chosen it, and we are the divine deliberate creators, and what we say goes. Ask, and it is given. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. So I'm going to pull on the current energy just because I want to, and I'm curious, and what do you know? What do you know? The base energy before touching anything is exactly that. It's death. It's done. It's tired. This bird can't fly anymore. It can't, even if you were to try to reanimate this corpse. There's no way it's taken flight. It's just a bunch of bones. What's underneath that? The Hanged Man. Yeah, new perspectives all around. Ooh. And a physical change in the atmosphere. I just got buzzing and pressure in one ear. That's interesting. It's a little bit of dark night of the soul here, which is what pushes us to expand. Again, when the ego realizes it's creating its own suffering, and the way that it comes to realize that is it gets tired of suffering. It does. The ego doesn't like pain, which is why it's endeavored to create all these ways to run from pain, but in the running from pain, it's actually just created suffering. I personally define those words slightly differently. Pain is something that is important. It's contrast. It's there to serve us. Suffering, which is due to resistance, in most cases the resistance to pain, is that which we actually have a choice in. If you just release the resistance to pain, it's not so bad. It is our balling ourselves up against it that creates the suffering. Eventually, ego realizes in all its running from the pain, it's hurt itself worse. Far, far worse than just facing the feeling in the first place. And this too is the end of that collective pain. Yeah, that deeply rooted ancient pain. So karma is just imbalanced energy. Imbalanced energy happens when we refuse to let the feeling flow through us. It's happened. We feel the feeling, and then we try to push it away. We try not to process it. But the only thing that does is keeps it bottled up. You bottle up enough emotion. First of all, it just stays in your energy field. Everything is energy, emotion is energy, thoughts are energy, yada, yada, yada. that thought, that emotion, that experience that you had that was so painful that instead of trying to feel it, instead of feeling it, instead of letting it happen, you try to push it away, you try to deny it, reject it, ignore it. That means it lodged itself somewhere in your energy field. That energy stays stuck. It stays with you until you choose to let it release. Not only does it stay stuck, it tries to keep renewing itself. Now you've given it its own life, essentially. The life that it wanted to have was to flow through you, was to be let to simply express freely, to be in that moment. Because you choked that off, it turns into this other, it toxifies. It toxifies, it turns into kind of a parasite. The more experiences you have like that, the more of those emotions that you push away, the more that they conglomerate together until you have created your own personal shadow. It's beautiful. Your own personal egregore, essentially, a collection of thought forms, which now has its own kind of base intelligence. It's not really intelligent, it's an artificial intelligence, because you have imbued it with those qualities, you being the intelligence, your organic, natural intelligence. That's what consciousness is. Because it is an extension of consciousness, in a sense, it has its own intelligence, but it is not true power, because it is necessarily, by the way it exists, disconnected from power. You cut it off. It's like a collection of cut off energy that wants to reintegrate with the whole, but it doesn't understand. All it understands is that it's cut off, and it feels this need to keep feeding itself. It feeds itself by renewing that same emotion that you refused to feel in the first place. By bringing that thought back up within you, some other similar experience triggers that, you feel the emotion, and if you are not aware and present and choose this time to actually feel it and express it and not push it away, it'll just keep doing that. The more that this happens, the bigger that gets. It's what Eckhart Tolle refers to as the pain body. It's pretty fascinating, actually. And collective has this as well. The collective collection of all of our pain bodies, and also this pain that we have experienced at a more collective level. These collective wounds, societal wounds, community wounds, all of these things that have happened due to conflicts between larger groups of people, and we haven't faced them as communities, and so that adds to this collective egregore of pain. Yeah, and that's it. This is why we've been repeating the same cycles over and over, is because of our lack of awareness. Our lack of awareness leads to this inability to heal the collective wound, essentially. And that the core wound of ego itself is believing that it is separate from self, believing that it is its own, it is the self, that it is in charge, and that there is some other piece that is separate from it, the divine piece, that ego is not divine, that it's on its own, that it's operating alone, that it has no help, it's not supported, this, that, and whatever, and it becomes very guarded. And it's time, for this to be seen clearly. All it takes to dissolve that energy is awareness. That's it. That's all it takes. You don't do anything, actually. In fact, it's about not doing. It's about realizing in the moment that your, or some collective form of the pain body, of the egregore of anxiety and fear-based reaction, of old programming, old fear-based thinking, shadow, illusion, all of that stuff, realizing in the moment when it's triggered, when you feel the uprising of that painful emotion, whether it's anxiety or shame or guilt or intense anger, like a rage type of feeling, anything fear-based, to be present enough in that moment to realize it's happening. That's it. And to realize this isn't me. This is an old thought trying to renew itself, injecting me with this sensation to convince me that I should think it, that I have a need, that I have a reason to think it. That somehow the answer to relieving this feeling is found in the thinking and not in the feeling. The thinking just takes you away from the feeling. You can't feel and think at the same time. And when you're thinking about emotions, you're not actually feeling them. It's about being present, letting the mind quiet, and just being present with that emotion, letting it be a sensation within you, experiencing that sensation. What does it feel like? Where do you feel it? How does it feel? What does it look like to you? Does it have a smell? Does it have a sound, a flavor? Energy has all of these qualities. It's really quite fascinating when you direct your senses in that way internally towards energy. That's all it takes, is awareness. You're not asking it to change. You're accepting that it's there. You're acknowledging, oh, this is painful emotion, and it has no reason except to be felt. It's here to be expressed, and I choose to allow it expression through me. I choose to be present, to honor it, to witness it in this moment. That's all it takes. That's all it takes, is looking at it. Yeah. And there is no additional effort required. We're seeing very clearly how we have curtailed our own healing, our own expansion, our own evolution, how we've sort of been shooting ourselves in the foot. We've been stopping our own new beginnings from taking place. But nothing has gone wrong. It all leads us to this place where we finally desire to make a change, where we finally see what we've been doing and go, I don't want to do that anymore. I don't want to feel this anymore. The answer to not feeling this anymore is it's actually surrendering to feeling it in that moment. It's not the thing that you think you don't want to feel that you don't want to feel. Let me say that again. It's not the emotion that you're so afraid of and you think you don't want to feel that actually is causing the discomfort. It is your resistance to that emotion. It is your fear of feeling the emotion that is uncomfortable, that creates that sensation of tension and resistance. If you just lean into the emotion and let it happen, you discover this is actually okay. It's not so bad. I can handle this. What is so uncomfortable to me is the resistance to the emotion itself. It's time to let the emotion flow. Yeah. In every area, it's time for everything to just cut loose. To be cut loose, to be set free. Set the feeling free and the healing takes place naturally. That's it. That is all it takes. Again, healing is not an additional step. There is nothing else required. And you can't get it wrong. It's just every moment, as soon as you can, notice it. Recognize that feeling bad about feeling bad is ego. There's no reason to feel bad about feeling bad. It's okay to feel bad. It's okay. You don't need to judge yourself for that. Acknowledge it, honor it, and witness it. Accept the bad feeling as it's happening, and then just be present with it. Be there for it. Say, you know what, you're okay. You're allowed to feel this way. You're not bad for feeling bad. You don't need to feel guilty for feeling guilt, or ashamed of feeling shame, or afraid of feeling afraid. You don't need to feel that second layer. That's the resistance to the emotion. That's ego, and that's the unnecessary part. And when we just let go of that and let the core emotion flow through, we honor it, we allow it, we welcome it. We say, you're allowed. There is nothing wrong with you. You're allowed to be here right now. I accept you in this present moment. And then the rest just takes care of itself. You've done it. You've transmuted that thing. Coming in from the cold. Yeah, the soul is coming back online. The collective soul is coming back online. We are consciousness. We are one consciousness becoming aware of itself at broader and broader levels. As the individual expressions, experiences of consciousness become aware of themselves and aware of the collective, that ripples forth into the field. The entire quantum field is conscious. It is consciousness. And so broader and broader portions of itself come online, come back into connection. We are awakening collective consciousness to its self, to the collective self. That's pretty fantastic. And yeah, it's just, this is the way it's designed to work. This is the way it was always gonna be. We have free will. That free will is to choose to suffer. Eventually, we choose enough suffering that we go, I don't want to do this anymore. It's suffering. It sucks. I think I've done enough suffering. This isn't working. There's got to be another option, because it's not this. And that's when the soul comes in and goes, hey, I got you. I got exactly what you're looking for. Just follow me. And that is how the ego begins to dissolve again. Cut the cards. Yeah. Going with the flow of emotion. A lot more expressiveness. A lot more love, that's for sure. Realizing the importance of emotion, not just to our own well-being, but that it is tantamount, actually. That the only thing that matters is the cups, is the emotion. When we're not flowing with that, when we're not receiving that, when we're not engaging with ourselves and one another from an emotional standpoint, from the soul level, it's actually meaningless. It's not so good. There's that 9 of Wands. There's the tired energy. Oh, I could feel this before I pulled the reading. I mean, it's just, this is me right now. I'm exhausted. And this is it. It's coming. The wall is coming down. Very little resistance to the feeling of emotion. I want one more. What's underneath that? Yeah, there's that 2 of Cups. Seeing eye to eye on the soul level, seeing the self within another, that's what we want. That's what love is. That is true love. Recognizing yourself, the self, within this form that you call other. Recognizing that there is no difference. There is no separation between you. You are one and the same. We are the same self, the same consciousness, the same being. That being which is eternal, which is well, which is intrinsically these things, intrinsically worthy, deserving, supported, appreciated, loved. We are loving. We are life living. When you witness, when you gaze into the eyes of another and you see yourself, your soul, divine, spirit, gazing back, and you are aware in that present moment that you are looking into the eyes of Source, which also is yourself, and you feel that love welling up, that appreciation, that adoration, marveling at this expression of yourself in a way that you could only ever have dreamed of, that you never dreamed of, a way that surprises and delights you, the infinite diversity and subtle nuances of your being, more than you could ever have hoped for, wished for, and continuing to expand. It's incredible. And when you are looking into the eyes of that, like making eye contact with the sky, you can make eye contact with anything, by the way. It doesn't need to have physical eyes. It is soul gazing. When you do that and you feel that divine love welling up within you, you know that's the purpose. That's everything. That's what I want. It's the only thing I want. It's the only thing that matters. And I have access to it by focusing into that place, by remaining in presence, by being purely. And it's all opening up. Everybody is opening up. Tired of fighting the feelings, tired of fighting themselves. Oh, how many cards am I gonna pull? I don't know if I want to do a full 6 card, but we'll see what comes out. We will see what comes out. What do you want to say, universe? I am pulling on the soulmate cycle in essence as a sample for general collective, as influenced by the current energies, in particular Neptune retrograde in Pisces, doing work with Saturn, my guy, bringing all the feels to the surface. Neptune just keeps wheeling it into the room, and Saturn goes, thank you, let's talk about this now. Yeah. Neptune is providing some more source material for Saturn to teach from. Let's talk about it. I did see the star just a moment ago. What do you want to say, universe? What are we doing? Ten of Wands. It's the burden is too heavy. It's falling apart already with that 9. This is done. Yeah, it's time for this to change. It can't sustain anymore. It is the ego seeing itself. Do I want to keep suffering? This is my choice. Do I keep holding back the emotions and just torturing myself? Or do I choose something else because this doesn't feel good? This isn't working for me. This isn't fun. I want to try something else. There's that soul saying, I got something else for you. It's called free expression. It is called free expression of the self, holding nothing back, because the boundary is only ever the burden. When you're trying to hide something from yourself, from another, whatever, trying to hide, trying to reject a part of your being, or trying to reject another's being, which is just a part of your being as well, it just hurts. It just hurts. It keeps us stuck. There's frustration here over not having made a decision, and the soul is saying, you know what you want. It's time to go. It's time to go. It's time to get a move on. It is the Chariot. It is the card of Cancer. It's the card of the soulmate cycle, according to Steve's left tarot, and it's fueled by the Fool. And what's underneath that? It's I know what it is. Yeah, there's that Devil. It's too hot to handle anymore. This is the self-destruction of ego, of devil energy, of that egregore of pain. It becomes too much. The self-created suffering reaches a point where ego goes, I can't take this anymore. There's got to be another way, and that way is ego stepping out of the way, is ego falling away and letting the soul, the feminine aspect, feminine energy, rise to the surface and lead and start calling the shots. No, it's not supposed to make logical sense. It's supposed to feel right. That's how it works. You follow the good feeling. You don't run from the bad feeling. You allow it to be there. You experience the contrast. You let it be contrast. And then you find the next best feeling thing from there. That's it. It's not running from it. It's allowing the contrast to show you. You have to sit in the darkness for the light to glow. That's how you find your way. You feel your way. Not by logic, not by sight, not by planning. No, there's no thinking involved. It's all internal and it's all emotional. What's in the card of the connection? Queen of Pentacles. That fawn needs some milk. He needs some milk. And it makes sense. It's just making sense. It's starting to make sense that this feels good. Feeling good is good. And there's really only one choice. If this fawn wants nourishment, it's gotta go to mama. It can't get that milk anywhere else. It has to go to the source of it. That's what the soul is saying. If you want to relieve this burden, you gotta go masculine energy towards the feminine. I'm talking internally, but it plays out at every level. It just does. That's how this works. Yeah, it's the masculine energy, the ego, the mind is so tired, and it knows it's been running in circles. It's been chasing its tail. It's got nowhere to go. If it wants to feel good, it's gonna have to give up the fight. In the 3D, I mean, it's forward motion. It's powerful forward motion. 8 of Wands. A bolt from the blue, a very expressive bolt. It's just, yeah. Again, I'm drawn to this. The reason lightning is so striking, pun intended, is because it happens in a dark place. This is how we find the way, by feeling the contrast, by sitting in the darkness and not running from it, letting it be, and allowing the light of awareness to just sit there in that spot. And then we get the flash of inspiration. That's what this is. It's the flash of inspiration. It's the good feeling impulse. You can only really clearly, with clarity, again, you can only know with clarity what it is you want when you know with clarity what you don't want. In order to know with clarity what you don't want, you have to let it be what you don't want. You have to sit in that feeling and go, I don't like this, and I'm going to feel it. Let me feel it all the way. Let me list to myself the reasons I don't like this. Not the reasons it's wrong. That's a separate, no, it's not wrong. It's right to be there. It's there to show you. It is there to be contrast. So this light stands out. So when you feel that flash of good feeling, of inspiration, the good feeling impulse, you go, oh, that's it. That's what I want. That rings my bells. And I only hear clearly those bells ringing because I allowed myself to sit in silence, to sit in the quiet, to have no bells ringing, to feel them muffled, to feel the discomfort of that. Now I know with clarity the direction I want to move. Contrast always serves us. What's in the soul? Fear. Fear does not live in the soul. I can tell you right now. Fear is a mind-created illusion. And it's being realized that instead of listening to the soul, we've been listening to fear. We've been letting fear guide us. And where has it guided us? Into a big sticky mess, into a pile of shit, into the darkness, just deeper, darker, further into the woods. Again, that chasing the tail, wild goose chase, it's continuously digging pits and climbing out of them and not really getting anywhere. That's what fear does. Fear tells you it's going to keep you safe. It never does. It keeps you stuck because there is nothing to run from. There's no risk. There's nothing to be afraid of. That's all illusion. So there's nothing to be afraid of. There's nothing to run from. The only place fear can take you is on a wild goose chase. It is just projecting this image of something chasing you, and you're on the treadmill the whole time, going nowhere, a whole lot of nothing, just running from your shadow. The shadow that can only be cast because you are light and because you are projecting it. What's in the hidden energy? 4 of Wands. That's very interesting. There's a stabilization taking place. In order for the stabilization to happen, it has to be destabilized first, right? And it has to be flowing also. That which is stuck, we have stuck energy that is flowing. Now, it's moving 5D to 3D. It's breaking loose. That is the effect of the environmental energy. That's its goal. That's the way it's designed. It's everything happening right now is designed to help all of us break loose the stuck emotion that we've had. That which is stagnant and stuck is not balanced. It's just still. It's still water. Still water is toxic. You need the flowing water. That's where the life is, right? The same is true of energy. It's everything is energy. Again, plays out at every level. And it's always mirrored in every level up. Flowing water is where it's at. When the water is flowing, it can't toxify. It has to be stagnant in order for that to happen. There has to be a stillness in order for what we call devil energy, which is just heavier energy, negative energy, to be able to set in and weave its web, to cast that illusion. When we let the energy flow, when we stop repressing the emotions, we let the emotions express, we share the cups, right? We let the truths express, we share those truths, we communicate openly. When we continuously do that, when we are continuing to expose ourselves, right? We're told not to share our emotions and our thoughts because that's vulnerable. That's vulnerability. There's danger, Will Robinson. That's all the ego. It's all an illusion to try to create an eddy, essentially, so that you stagnate your energy and then it has a better chance to take hold and feed itself and all of these things. That is no longer working. It's been revealed to itself. Ego sees it's been working against itself. Shadow is tired of this game. It's tired of the con. It wants to return home. It wants to be redeemed. It wants to be something else now. It's revealing itself as an illusion so that we have this climactic opportunity to see through it and release it once and for all. There will always be contrast. Contrast is different, again. But this is the illusion. That's what's being released. And it is driving the masculine energy towards seeing, understanding just how stabilizing, truly stabilizing the feminine energy is at every level. Just how much the soul can be counted upon, relied upon. That in fact, that is where the only actual balance is in the continual trusting of emotion, intuition, flowing with it. What's in the final outcome position? 3 of Pentacles. There's still resistance here, but it's a dislodging. It is a dislodging. Again, understanding that things have to come down. Walls, in particular, have to come down for this new beginning to take place. We have to destabilize all the way. We have to fall apart to get it together, right? Break down completely, which is what this energy is trying to do, to break everybody down. I mean that. We have to hit rock bottom to reach a stable foundation to build upon. That's the only place that's solid. It's got to be all the way down, all the way in, all the way into the emotion. I am going to clarify this. I am going to clarify and see what comes out here. But that's the gist of it. 5 of Wands, minor resistance. Seeing the bullshit. Seeing it's just a bunch of nonsense. All of the fear is made up. It's all an illusion. Fear is always false. It's always a con. It is always a lie. It's there for you to see through. That's the purpose of it. Yeah, the Magician. We've been tricking ourselves, which again is what fear will do. It makes a big hullabaloo. It injects you with all of this intense visceral sensation to try to convince you to follow it, not to become conscious. It's trying to convince you to stay unconscious and unconsciously follow it and just keep going around and round and round in circles. It looms large. It puffs up real big. It casts a big old shadow and tries to threaten you with it. You always know if your motivation, the motivating feeling factor for something is fear, is to run from fear, is to run from something that feels bad, is to try to avoid or prevent or control something, that's just ego. That is illusion. Do the opposite of that thing. Yeah, exactly. This has been the source of our problem. Our own shortcutting of our own healing. Because we were pushing against the healing. We were pushing against the feeling, thinking that's how we got better. Was by just pretending the feeling wasn't there. Nope, I don't feel that. No, I'm not upset about that. It's totally fine. I'm over it. No, that was the illusion. That was the sabotage. That was shortcutting our own healing process, which is not how it works. You can't shortcut healing, especially by going around the feeling. That's the opposite. It is the opposite. And it's being revealed again by the soul, by the hermit. I love seeing that come back. Here to lead us again in the dark, through the dark. It's through the dark because it's by feeling, because your eyes are no good here. Your brain, all of your thinking is no good here. When you think about emotion, of course it becomes confusing. Of course it becomes overwhelming. The brain cannot process emotion. It's here to be processed by the heart, by the soul. It's here just to be felt. That means you shut the brain down. You stop trying to figure it out. You stop trying to justify it, rationalize it, explain it. You stop fighting it and just let the feeling happen. And there, the lovers underneath, that's how the healing occurs. Archangel Raphael. And we have, and the Fool right underneath that. Again, that's how the transmutation takes place. Every time you do that, every time your energy shifts, and it never can go back to what it was. There is no regression. Every time that you find yourself in the moment, that you're feeling something, and you realize this is a feeling that I've run from before. And previously, up until now, I was unconscious of it. But now, in this moment, this time, I'm aware. I know what's going on. And I know the only thing I gotta do, the only thing there is to do, is just not run. Is just not resist the emotion. Is just let it happen. Let it be. And then you're surrendering to it, and you've already shifted it. You've already put your awareness upon it, and it can't feed itself in the same way that it did. You still got to feel. You're going to feel, and it's probably going to come back a couple of times because it's established, right? It's been there. It's got this routine, and it has some energy. It only triggers that thought or that emotion when it wants to feed. That means it's still got some resources. But every time that you notice it and that you're present with it, and instead of following the thought unconsciously, you just sit in the emotion and look at it, and you don't tell it it's wrong. You say, I see you. I see what you're trying to do. I understand that you are yourself acting out of fear. You're afraid. And you're trying to get me to be afraid so that you're not alone. But there's a different way for you to be not alone. Let me show you. Let me show you a new way. I can sit in presence with you. I can tell you you're not alone. I'm right here. And I'm listening. And I'm not judging you. I'm letting you be as you are. I'm asking you to be as you are. Express yourself. I invite that. Welcome to my table. You have equal portion. You are seated at the right hand of myself, my Father, the divine presence that I am. Speak. Speak freely. Let me be with you. That's how we change this. That's how we reach the healing. That's how we reach the new beginning. Oh, I just dropped a bunch of cards. How we reach the new beginning. How we let go of the self-deception. Again, it's not working anymore. Everything is being exposed. There's the Queen of Cups sticking out underneath. This is how we get the healing. This is how we reach true happiness within, because again, true happiness is balanced energy. It has nothing to do with anything external. You balance your own energy. It doesn't require any condition to change. The only thing it quote unquote requires is presence. Is you choosing to be in presence with yourself. Letting the emotion express, letting the feelings flow. They balance themselves, they take care of themselves. You feel good as a result. Oh gosh, I dropped a whole bunch of cards. Let's clarify before I just keep yammering on about this. Why is the Queen of Pentacles here? Tell me about this Queen of Pentacles. Oh, okay, cards rotating. Tell me about the Queen of Pentacles. Self-sustaining. Feminine energy is self-sustaining. again, it doesn't actually need masculine energy. The masculine aspect of feminine is that which supports itself, that which feels good about itself, that which stands in its own power and is unafraid. But again, it's at the core, it's feminine energy, which is fun. And masculine energy at the core is feminine energy, which is why masculine energy cannot exist without feminine. Why is the Queen of Pentacles here? Let's talk about it. Talk about the Queen of Pentacles. That Five of Pentacles comes back. Yeah, it's time to get some milk. There's no place else to go. There's only one option. When it's cold outside, you go inside. You get to something warm. You move towards the warmth, towards the fire. This is Empress energy. Empress energy is very warm. It's inviting. It's nurturing. There's no food here either. You know, there's got to be. It's time to bring the cup. It's time to open up to the Empress. What's on top? Why is that Five of Pentacles here? Yeah, there's one choice. It's time to let the guard down and open up to the Empress energy, to the feminine energy. That's the only way the healing happens, the only way we get the nourishment, all of these things. And it's becoming more and more obvious. One of these swords is just, it's a lot heavier than the other. It's rusty, it's gross, it's obvious. There is one good choice. There is one choice if you want to feel good. Why? Why is the Two of Swords here? Yeah. Four of Swords. There's one choice. Multiple levels. It's turning off the brain in one. And in the other, it's taking action. It is taking that leap of faith. It's taking the action that is inspired from within, from the heart, from the soul, from the good feeling. No longer questioning it, leaving the brain out of the equation. Again, truth is not found in the brain. It's time to stop thinking about the feelings and just follow them. Just feel them, number one, and then they will guide you. They will naturally guide you. You leave the brain out of that process entirely. Why is the Eight of Wands here? I mean, it's here to break things loose. It is here to break the soul energy again, which is feminine energy, loose. It is the rise of the feminine at every level. Why is the Eight of Wands here? I just dropped, I think, 2 cards, so we'll see what those are. Okay. Fucking love tarot so much. Why is the Eight of Wands here? Because it's an Eight of Wands, bitch. because what do you think? Everything we just said, says the universe. Because it's time for this to move. It's time to get a move on it. It's time for feminine energy to rise to the surface. It's time to break loose all of that old stagnant, all the gunk that's gathered up in there. We're clearing it out. We're here to do this. We're here to help. Oh my God. The Tower. Yeah. I mean, we're here to knock those towers down. Again, you gotta reach rock bottom. We're blowing up. We're showing everything to you that was fear-based, everything that's been keeping you stuck, keeping you sad, keeping you unhappy. And we're just blowing it up. I mean, it is the ego, again, revealing, seeing, having revealed to it the ways that it's sabotaged its own happiness and its own justice. That it's been making mountains out of molehills and just standing in its own way, essentially. And the only way for it to achieve what it actually desires, which is satisfaction, which is happiness, is to blow itself up, is to get out of its own way. Which means stop listening to itself and just letting the feeling flow, surrendering to the flow of energy within and without, surrendering to divine justice. It's dramatic communication here too, dramatic expression of self. It is just can't hold it back anymore, can't keep it in. Been biting my tongue for so many years. My mouth is full of blood. I'm ready to spit it out. It's spit it out. The world, yeah, this is not stoppable. This is just, it's not stopping. It is not stoppable. It is impossible to resist. I mean, you could keep resisting it, And you're gonna get colder and colder until you decide, I don't want to be cold anymore. This sucks. I feel very uncomfortable. There is one way out of this, and that is to come in from the cold. That is to let the expression happen, let the energy flow, let whatever is be, especially within yourself. A lot of this has to do with just open expression and not fighting that. Why is the Four of Pentacles here? Tell me about this Four of Pentacles. In the soul, my God. Why? Why is the Four of Pentacles here? Oh, because we've all been so repressed. Because the masculine energy has gotten so tangled up in itself for such a long time. But you know how you untangle this tangle? You stop pulling on it. You just let it go slack. And then it resolves itself. It's like a Chinese finger trap. How do you get out of it? You stop fighting. You release the resistance, and then it just flows. It just takes care of itself. Why is the Four of Pentacles here? You release the resistance, and then it just flows. Ace of Cups, as the sprinklers come on. I love that. It's just exploding out. It's just bursting. Absolutely bursting. Yeah. I can't hold this back. There's the Ten of Wands again. Cannot hold this back. This cup turned toxic because it was shut down, shut in for so long. And we can't take it anymore. It's clear. There is one way to feel better. That's to let it go, man. That's to just let this shit flow. Speak it out. Let it be felt and let it be expressed. Why is the Ace of Cups here? The soul, again, the Hermit. Yeah, because the soul is like, I'm tired of being jammed up. The feminine energy is going, I'm taking control. I am taking over this process. It's coming up now. It's happening now. You're feeling now. And you're gonna express these truths to yourself and outwardly, because that's the only way that you serve yourself. And serving yourself is what you want, is what the ego wants. It's what you want, all of yourself. This is how we do it. This is how we serve self. By expressing. Why is the Hermit here? This is how we do it. By not pretending. If you want the real happiness to take place, first of all, stop shutting down your dreams. Stop shutting down your desires. And second of all, stop pretending that what you have is what you want. Stop pretending the contrast isn't contrast. Stop pretending that this isn't a bunch of bullshit. Stop pretending that you don't feel resistance, that you don't feel unhappiness, that you don't feel pain. Stop pretending those emotions aren't there. That's unconsciousness. That's how they persist. That's how they keep renewing themselves. Stop pretending they're not there. Look at them. Admit to them. Say, I feel this. I feel resistance. I have ego. Ego is reacting in me. I feel a trigger. I feel this happening. I'm not going to lie to myself about it. And I'm not going to judge it. I'm going to let this emotion happen. It's not wrong. It's not wrong for me to feel anything. And the way that I move through it, the way that I let it transmute and transcend, is by not denying what I feel. If it feels bad, it feels bad. I don't need to feel bad about feeling bad. I can feel good about feeling bad. I can be like, yes, contrast, let me writhe in this. Not writhe, but just feel it. Feel it. Let it flow. Let me not fight the emotion. And if it feels good, I go, yes, that feels incredible. Let me bask in this. That's it. You just let the emotions happen. That is the whole secret to everything. Life, the universe, and everything. Thought it was 42. Well, 42's in there somewhere. Why is the Four of Wands here? Hidden energy. Message from the universe. What are you trying to say here, universe? It's long-term change. Empress energy has never looked better, and it's just going to keep getting riper and riper and just look tastier and tastier. I mean, it is. It's not changing. It's just glowing brighter. Why is the Four of Wands here? Why is the Four of Wands here? Came straight back. Ace of Cups. It's just... because the Empress energy is flowing. Feminine energy, soul energy, emotions, intuition, all of this. It's flowing. Because it's flowing, it's bringing things to balance. It's uplifting everything. Again, even if people were not paying any attention, weren't quote unquote putting in the work or trying to have a spiritual journey or whatever, none of that matters. It never did matter. It's not work either. It's in fact a lack of doing. It's a doing less. It's a stopping doing. No more trying, no more efforting, just allowing. No more repression, no more trying to control. Giving up caring, giving up trying, and letting what happens happen, and being present for it. It's all flowing, no matter what. Yeah, 10 Wands just came back. The cup runneth over, and no one escapes the cup. You cannot escape your path of destiny. Why? Because you designed it for yourself. First of all, you did that. You chose it based on what you desire, what feels good for you, what you wanted. And the universe being based on allowance, not assertion, the law of allowance is what drives attraction. It always finds a way. It doesn't matter how much resistance you have, it just flows around. You will give up that resistance. I promise you, you will, because you get tired. You lose focus. When you fall asleep, your resistance drops and the universe floods all of that energy into you. I mean, you can try to stay awake your whole life. It's not going to work. You can try to stay out of the current of well-being. You can't escape it. You cannot. Even when you get yourself crossways of it, it's still flowing for you, and it will find a way to flow to you. What's on top? It's still flowing. 3 of Cups, and it will find a way. That's just it. There is always a way. You can't outrun the universe. Why? Because the universe is yourself, and you cannot outrun yourself. And what are the core aspects of your being, of yourself? Goodness, rightness, worthiness, well-being, abundance. Oh, glorious, unlimited abundance. All of these things. You can't be anything other than those things. You can't be anything other than good, well, supported, stable, abundant, gloriously blessed, adored. All of this. You can't be other than that. That is yourself. You can't be other than yourself. You can project, which is what we've done, to the furthest reaches of, say, let me imagine something other than myself. And that's how we imagine these things like hatred and intense suffering and pain and all of that. But even that just points back to the truth of our being, because we know that's not us. This is not me, which means what is me is the other side of this, is the flip side of this. It's love. Hatred is not a thing that exists. It's just not love. It's based on love. It is just a version of love. And it only ever fuels and supports and adds to the stability, the expansiveness of love. Separation is not a thing that exists. Separation can't exist without connection. Separation itself is just a version of connection that only ever feeds and increases and expands connection. All of these things. Why is the 3 of Cups here? It was always going to get there. The universe finds a way. It gets there. It gets there. Everything that you wished for gets there. Most of it is stuff that you don't know that you're wishing for, because the brain isn't privy to it. It's being asked for from your soul, from the soul level, and the soul speaks in emotion. It doesn't speak in specifics. A lot of it has to do with things that you designed for yourself before this incarnation, things that you wanted to surprise yourself with. That was a part of the delight. That was a part of the joy, for it to happen serendipitously in a way that lets you know your connectedness with all that is, that lets you know the universe has your back, lets you know this is not something I could ever have planned or made happen from this level of existence. It comes from higher up. It's here not just for me to feel this joy, but also for me to feel the joy of understanding my supportedness, how loved and appreciated and adored I am, and how much the universe is working for me. Life is for me. Everything is to my benefit. I see it now. All of these things that I thought went wrong, all of these things that I was upset about or disappointed or had regrets about, now in this place, I feel none of that. It all makes sense. I get it now. I see how the entire thing was aligned for this penultimate joy, this satisfaction, this experience that I would not trade for anything. And now everything that's come before it, I am grateful for. I appreciate. And I trust. I am more open. When you are open to the universe, when you are open to life, life opens to you. And it all, that's the way it works. It's all just here to flow. Final outcome card. Tell me about the Three of Pentacles here. Three of Pentacles. What's this about? Building new foundations. Stable ones. Ones that are not rickety, not gonna fall anymore. Because we're breaking it all the way down, because we're going to the source, we're going to the core, the emotional core. It always has ever been an emotional core. What's this Three of Pentacles about? Why? Yep, cutting straight to the source. Cutting out the bullshit. Ready to build in a new way. Yeah, understanding that we gotta leave behind the things that weren't working for us. We're leaving fear behind. We're leaving suffering behind. Those things can't come with us to the next level. They are being removed. They're being released. It's just happening naturally. And there's really not a say in the matter. It's just how easy you're going to make this process for yourself. You can resist it and then it's more uncomfortable, or you can let it happen and then you're still going to feel a lot of things, but you're leaning into it. You're leaning into the flow of the energy, and you have that connection to the true stability, that pipeline to source. That's the unshakable place. And then everything around you can be shaking apart, crumbling to pieces, but it doesn't affect your stability, because your stability is not derived from those things. It's derived from that which is beyond, which transcends, which is the container of. It's never called into question. But we're calling all of this stuff into question and seeing how it just falls apart. Queen of Wands. Yeah, red with the Tower. I mean, these two don't get along. I can tell you that. Queen of Swords, Queen of Wands. You do not want to get between them at a party. You don't want to invite them to the same party, much less get between them. Yeah, it's no more bullshit. No more phoniness. We're done. We're done with that. Why did the deck just split? At the Four of Wands. Again. No more pretending everything is hunky-dory when it's not. It needs to be not. We need to let it be not okay. That's how this works. Stop pretending everything's okay. Stop with all the smiling pictures on Instagram. I'm so happy and so this and that. You're not okay. Be not okay. That's how you get to better. You don't get anywhere from pretending that the shit isn't shit. You acknowledge that it is, and then you open up with your longing, your willingness to experience that emotion. You open up to the universe to give you something real, to give you what you really want, what is really on the other side of that shit stick. Because I promise you, there is something on the other side of it. It's always a spectrum, it's always a foil. There are always two things. One that is opposing the other, they actually balance one another, which is why when you let the pain be pain, when you let the contrast be contrast, and you let it naturally direct you the other direction, then you have this glowing, stark contrast clarity of what it is that you want, and you have it at the emotional level, not some conceptual, conceived by the mind, I think that would be nice. No, this is what you want. And it has no strings attached to it. It has no conditions attached to it. It is the pure emotional content of that which is desired. When we stop pretending that we want this thing that we don't really want, and we let it be unwanted, and we go all the way into that of, again, it's allowed to be unwanted. It's here to serve me by being unwanted. It's not wrong to be unwanted. It's not an indictment of it. It's not incorrect to exist. In fact, it is perfect. It's valued. And just because I don't want it doesn't mean it's not good also. But I need to have this experience of unwanted. In fact, it's good because it's serving me by being unwanted. Seeing it clearly. No more lying. No more of this BS. Yeah. Why is the Queen of Wands here? Change. This is the karma. This is the imbalanced energy. This is what everything in the universe is trying to bring to balance right now, to get people to stop lying about their own feelings, about how unhappy they are, and letting it be there so that it can actually, number one, express, so that emotion can express, it can be set free by the feeling of it. There's a resolve. There's a resolve, a balance. Oh my God, and of course it's the Emperor underneath. Yeah, masculine energy we're talking about. So that emotion can balance, and that level feels good. Then it informs us with clarity. Oh, number two, we surrender. We discover the sweetness of surrender in itself. We discover that peace is found in surrendering. That it's not really this emotion that I was afraid was going to feel so terrible. That's not really a problem. Actually, I can handle this. Not only does it feel better to just feel it, but I'm discovering that my power is in surrendering. My power is in allowing. That's where the true peace and stability and balance comes from. And number three, it informs my ask in a new way. Now, by my willingness to face the contrast and feel it and admit to it as contrast, as that which I don't want, that which is not desired, and not pretending about that, by letting myself feel that fully, how unwanted this is and why I am naturally, from the emotional standpoint, pivoted towards what it is that does feel good, what it is that I do want. If I feel this is so unwanted because there is so little respect, there is so little connection, I don't feel connected, I don't feel love, I feel no passion. The things that I want are passion, are connection, are love, are mutual appreciation and reciprocation. These are the things that I want. And I'm not putting a picture on that. I'm not labeling it in any way beyond this is the emotional content of it. And now we are projecting from the heart space, because the heart, our willingness, our openness to the feeling is what allows us to then project feeling as well. Now we are delivering to the universe the desired request, the intended request. This is what we truly want at the soul level, from the heart. The universe doesn't hear your words, it feels your emotions. And when it feels the longing, when it feels the passion of your asking for something, which can only come about by your willingness to face the raw pain of the unwanted, when it feels that true asking, it delivers, and you get that emotional manifestation immediately. You have just put yourself, you have felt yourself into the place of the desired. You have it in that moment. That's another thing you get to realize, that you can feel yourself into that place. And again, there is no condition necessary for you to do that. You just feel. You feel yourself there. Nothing's changed outside of you, but you feel better. And you feel better because of your willingness to feel bad. And then everything else follows suit, because it must. Because you have asked in the way that you intended to ask, as a divine deliberate creator from your heart space, your heart garden, the heart generator, right? That's why there's a G in the middle of the Masonic symbol. It is the heart that generates the ask properly. The electromagnetic field of the heart is magnitude stronger than any other part of the body, way stronger than the brain, and it's guided by the soul. That's what the universe is teaching everybody, whether or not it's consciously, cognitively recognized. That's not important. It's not. It happens naturally, it happens intuitively, and it feeds itself. This is feeding itself in a new way. This is a positive feedback loop, as opposed to a negative one that is destructive, which is what the ego has wound us up in, and which is why it is now breaking itself apart. It's flinging itself apart. We're moving this other direction. I like this very much. Karma is resolving. I mean, it's here. It's here for justice, which is balance. Final three cards. And we'll get out of here. 3 cards from the universe. What else do you want to say? Anything else? Summarization, advice, comments, questions, concerns. How's my driving? Whatever you think. Or feel. Rather, not think. Oh, the Knight of Cups comes back. What's on top? That 4 of Swords, again. Some bullshit. Yeah, a whole lot of inaction is about to become action. Whatever that means. And, yep, yeah. High Priestess. It's all coming up. A whole lot of secrets, a whole lot of bullshit that cannot be held back anymore. Why do I say that? Yeah, because strength is underneath. This felt like a very determined energy. And here's, yeah, it's all kinds of, sad horse underneath, overthinking about the desired thing that we've been looking at for a long time, and we've been putting it off, but it's all that we want, and we can't deny it anymore, and it's just, it's coming up. It's getting there. Again, it's just coming up. It's emotional ipecac. There's no hiding anymore. When the shadows have light shone on them, light being your awareness, they disappear, and you can't hide. There's nowhere to hide. It's just, it's here. Just look at the emotions. That's it. Just let them flow. Again, that's the only thing don't try to think about emotions. And if you catch yourself doing it, that's okay. Don't beat yourself up about it either. And if you beat yourself up about it, that's okay. Just stop. Just stop. In the soonest moment that you can, go, this is all going down this rabbit hole, and I see it. I see it. It's a pattern that's been a part of me for a long time. And now, in this moment, I'm just witnessing this pattern. I'm just seeing how it all happened. And I'm not doing anything. I'm not trying to change it. I'm just being present. I'm just looking at it. I'm just holding it in this light, going, here it is. This is the pattern. This is what I've been practicing. This is a feeling attached to it, perhaps. There's a thought. I can see that there was a thought attached to it, or maybe I don't. That's okay too. And I'm just going to stand here. I'm not going to follow the thought. I'm not going to judge it. I'm just going to let this be. Just let it be. Let it flow. The rest will take care of itself. You don't have to do anything. Just shining your awareness upon that pattern, that old thought, is enough. And every time you do, it weakens a little bit, and it will not ever have that same grip over you again. It'll keep coming back. It will come back so that it has further opportunities to dissolve further and further. That's okay. Repeated applications, it's just teaching you. Let it happen. Let it come up. Let it flow. Don't be afraid to look at it, even if you feel afraid. That's okay. Keep expanding. Keep stepping your perspective back to include that emotion, but realize that you are in this broader place. You are in the bigger place. You are not in the emotion. The emotion is within you. You are allowing it to be there. And then you can stand back and just look at it. Just let it be. That's it. That's all I got. I was not here for the past hour and 15 minutes. I've been somewhere else, and I love that. This is fantastic. I've thoroughly enjoyed this. I'm really glad I did it. This is my own flowing with the energy and allowing it to flow through me, being an open channel, just an amplifier, so to speak. And this really resonates for me. So that's cool. I do intend that it resonates for you. I would love to know if you want to share. I mean, this is about expressing openly, so I do encourage that. But, you know, you do you, boo. Leave a comment, like, subscribe if you feel so inclined. Just flow with your own feelings. Let it all come up. That's all it's here to do, is to be felt. Doesn't need a reason. It doesn't need to be justified. Doesn't need to be explained to yourself or anybody else. They don't need an explanation. That energy just wants to express because it is self, and self desires expression. That's it. That's it. That's the whole reading. Hope you enjoyed. Take something meaningful from this, and have a beautiful, blessed evening. Go with the flow, baby. The flow is going with you. Always and always, in every vector of time and space. The universe loves and supports you. Divine loves and supports you, and I absolutely adore you.